I'm Sister Pramila Almeida from the congregation of the Sisters of St. Charles Borromeo. I feel grateful and humbled as I not only recount but also witness to the sacred story of God's faithfulness in my life. Yes, the journey of my religious call wasn't something like an overnight decision. Rather, it was a journey of testing times with a call to trust in the words of the Lord who said in Jeremiah 29:11, "For surely I know the plans I have for you, plans for your welfare and not for harm, to give you a future with hope." Today, I feel so blessed when I look at the wonderful ways God has faithfully fulfilled His plan in and through me. I have been fortunate enough to grow up in a loving Catholic family in Mangalore with pious parents who daily knelt beside their children with arms outstretched while at family prayer. A loving grandmother who would sit on a sofa reciting rosaries and chanting hymns. 3 loving brothers in whose company I grew up. I strongly believe that the seeds of my vocation to religious life were unconsciously sown here. I remember praying the prayer for religious vocation as part of our family prayer invariably every day since I was in 5th grade. Little did my parents realize that God was answering their prayer by inviting their only daughter to be His own. However, one might think it must have been easy to communicate to my parents about this calling that I powerfully sensed while in 10th grade. It so happened that the school had arranged special classes for students of 10, and on one of those days there was an ordination to priesthood and a religious profession in the parish church. Since the school was in the church campus, I, along with my friends, decided to miss the class and attend the religious ceremony, knowing fully well that we will have to face the consequences of our action, which we were not spared. But I strongly believe that it is in this context that I personally felt the Lord was calling me too. Yes, I was definitely confused and equally hesitant to talk about all of this because all the fears of a 16-year-old girl were still there. I kept silent about it all, got involved in lots of church activities through Legion of Mary. I passed out my 10th grade and enrolled myself into science stream in a PU college by early June. But one thought kept dominating most of the time. If not now, then it may never happen. When these struggles kept popping up time and again, I believe God intervened. On one morning, while we were at prayer, I was surprised to see 2 sisters from the Sisters of St. Charles Borromeo, a congregation unheard of then in my town. I consider this as the Kairos moment of my life, and God was working in surprising and most fulfilling ways. Yes, we sat and discussed. I expressed my decision to my parents and sensed their pain, doubts in the many excuses they placed. "What did you lack in this house that you want to go away?" This was the first expression of my grandmother, while my father came up with an option that I spend some days in the convent in Mangalore and see the life of sisters. I agreed, but with the condition that my brother accompanied me. Yes, I found myself in a convent, but with my brother and Sister Louisa, then superior, whose enthusiasm and passion to draw me to Jesus I felt was much greater than my own. I guess this is one of the key experiences that confirmed a sense of my calling, and I made my choice. Yes, this is where I belong. Though I didn't fully understand then what I was committing myself to, I know I had a sense of inner peace and hope and courage to move on. It was very painful for me to see my parents, grandmother and brothers all crying in the convent. But I was determined. While I was a novice, the Lord kept me testing again. My parents visited me unannounced as they wanted me to discontinue my formation because my brothers also had pursued religious vocation. I firmly believe the Lord knew the plans He had for me, and as much as I stood firm on my decision, I felt the strong support of my formators, who equally made every effort to convince my parents. I believe this was definitely God's doing in my life, and I said, "Yes, Lord." Do you think the journey from then onwards is a story of smooth sailing? Human temptations kept aligning at the side of success. When I was awarded with an outstanding student of Natural Science Association in Joseph's College, Bangalore, and later bagging the first rank with a gold medal from Mangalore University, I hoped to serve in the field of education. But the Lord scripted an alternative story, and in obedience I said, "Yes, Lord." A religious for 22 years, most of my years have been in the ministry of formation and counseling the youth. Trust me saying, on this path, I have witnessed the unfolding of God's plans in most unique and marvelous ways, both in my own life and in the lives of so many young girls who have joyfully pursued God's call in the congregation of the Sisters of St. Charles Borromeo. This congregation has a glorious history of 336 years, with its humble beginnings in Belgium in the year 1684. It was born in compassion for the poor, the ignorant and the deprived. Our founder, Reverend Father Adrian Brazzi, was moved to compassion at the sorry state of his flock in the war-torn situation of Europe. He took up this challenge with the help of 5 valiant women. His daring response is credited with the spread of mission down the centuries. Today, after 3 centuries and more, it has flourished, branched out, bearing the fruits of compassion through education, healthcare, social, pastoral and youth apostolate in India, Belgium, Tanzania, Uganda, Argentina, Poland, Italy, Mexico, Switzerland, yes, across the globe.
Yes, we are.
As you hear me, do you sense a glimpse of that plan of God for you? Are you eager to devote your life to God as an ambassador of God's compassion? Then I guess the congregation of the Sisters of St. Charles Borromeo is the perfect place where God is calling you to join hands with Him for a mission of compassion.